We are live. Hello, everyone. Hi, everybody. We are live. This is so exciting. So many people. So many familiar faces, I should say. I know a lot of people signed up, so more and more people will join. It's so great to see everyone. Say hi in the chat. Say hi in the chat. Tell us what you're excited about. Tell us where you're from. So wonderful. So wonderful to see you all here, whether it's nighttime or daytime or whatever time it is for you. We're all here together, which is so cool. And I'm very excited to share with you some fun strategies that we're going to talk about. Hi, Nicholas. Hi, Simon. Great to have you back. Hi, Sarah. Nice to see you here. Say hi to each other too. Tell us what you're excited about. Hi, Camillo. So fun indeed. So I'm going to give people a few more minutes just to get on, and then I'm going to share my screen, which is how we're going to get into what we want to do. All right. And let me message everyone so that they know we're live. Okay, so fun. All right. Hi, Caesar. Nice to see you here again. All right. More and more people coming in. So exciting. So now would be a good time to silence your devices. Maybe grab your beverage of choice. I have some water here that I'm going to be having occasionally. In fact, I have a little bit now before we get started. All right. So exciting. So I hope everyone's well. I hope wherever you are in the world, wherever you're joining from, you're having a great day or a great night or whatever time it is for you. And I really appreciate you taking the time to set some time now aside to dive in to this communication workshop. I sent out a poll, and I know that many of you were interested in conversational English. And of course, that's within the realm of communication. So we are diving into that space today again, which is very fun, very practical. All the tips and tools that I'm going to share with you today are practical. You can start using them right after this webinar. And there's also going to be an opportunity to practice on a live video call with me as well as the other members of our amazing community. So make sure that you are on the lookout for that, because that's a really great opportunity. It's one thing for me to give you all the amazing strategies that I have for you, but it's another thing to be able to practice them and then get feedback, right? That corrective feedback is really the kicker, because that's how we learn from our mistakes. That's how we grow. That's how we get out of our comfort zones. That's how we know if we are going to, if we're doing the right thing, saying the right thing. Okay, I have a question from Nicholas. Will this be recorded and get available to access it after? Yes, absolutely. You are able to access these recordings after, for sure. So no worries there. All right. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. So with that, let's jump into what I've prepared for you today. So silence your phones, make sure you're in the right mindset to grow and learn and connect. And I'm going to share my screen and we'll get started. Well, we've already started, but we'll jump into the strategies that I have for you. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Everyone can see that okay, right? I'm assuming yes. All right. So business idioms, we're talking about that today. I'm going to share business idioms with you. We're going to talk a little bit about why they're important, why you should use them. And then, like I said, you'll get an opportunity to actually practice these, which is terrific. All right. So, mastering common business idioms, improving business outcomes through social fluency. Okay. Hi, everyone. I think many of you know me because you're here, and that's kind of obvious in and of itself that you've probably come from the YouTube channels or through the YouTube channels or through the podcast that you listen to with the content that I create for advanced English for professionals and explearning communication. So it's so wonderful to see you here. I'm very happy to see you all here. And speaking of those platforms, if you would love to give us a review on Spotify or, subscribe to the YouTube channel and or both, that would be fabulous because that helps us get the word out and share this high quality content with more people. And then also letting them know about our community, Explearning Academy, which is our communication community. And I'm so excited that we have it available to all of you. Okay. So I'm CEO and founder of Explearning and Advanced English and head of community at Explearning Academy. And I'm here to empower you with the strategies that are going to help you improve your communication skills, your executive excellence, your executive presence and business communication, as well as help you reach social fluency. Yes, give us 5 stars on Spotify, just as a little reminder. All right. So in terms of education and experience, because I know people are curious, they want to know, who is this person? What's their background? And I completely understand that and support it. So I've got an advanced master's from Columbia University, and then I've got another master's from Bhattacharya University, and I've got a BA in, I was a double major because one wasn't enough. I did French and communications, and I graduated with honors from there too. Hamilton College. So I've over a decade, at this point, it's like 15 years of experience in cross-cultural communication, corporate communication, executive communication, television, live broadcasting. And I've been teaching and designing courses in those areas, communication, social skills, public speaking, English, cross-cultural and business communication for 15 plus years. That's kind of crazy to say that at this point because it doesn't feel that long, but it's been that long so far, which is great. And the way I design my courses is I emphasize technology and empirical research, data-backed teaching methods for high-value student outcomes for all of you. I also do teacher training. So I teach teachers how to teach well. And I have experience doing that abroad as well as at Columbia University, Baruch College, Hunter College, and other places around the world. The ones that I mentioned, though, that you might have heard of are located in New York City. So a city that I think many of us are familiar with, right? All right. So just a few reminders. I would really like for you to leverage the interactive chat. That's one of the cool perks of being live here with me. Of course, there's always value in watching the replays. And I know many of my members and students like to leverage the replays to, especially when we're on live video calls, because those are always recorded and they get to see, how they performed, how they did, how they communicated, what they said, and get to evaluate themselves as well in those replays. So you always have access to the recordings, but like I said, that interactive chat is there for you to use it and communicate with each other, as well as me, obviously. Be respect and kind. It goes without saying. And that's something we always like to remind ourselves of. And I would love for you to ask questions during, but also at the end, I'll leave some room for some, questions that you might have. All right. All right. So our agenda is we're going to talk about common idioms in business English, idioms for negotiations, specifically idioms for presentations, and idioms for networking. If that sounds good to you, give me your favorite emoji in the chat. Hi, Edwin. Great to see you here. Nice to see you. All right. I love these emojis, everyone. Excellent. Excellent. Look, some of these you might have heard of, some of them you might not have, but it's always great to, have a perspective on it, right? Even if you've heard them before, it's really important to, be more familiarized with it, be more acquainted with it so that you can actually start using these types of expressions and idioms in your own business communication, right? Okay, so what are idioms? They're phrases with figurative meanings that are different from their literal interpretation. Of course, there's a literal interpretation, but we're more interested in the figurative meaning, right? They enhance language by adding color, depth, nuance, which is important because that way we can give a little bit of more, flavor to our communication. They can convey complex ideas concisely and memorably, right? We don't have to, maybe the time it would take to explain, just say one idiom, it might take us actually like a whole paragraph of spoken words to convey that same thing. So they help us get to the point faster in some ways, right? And in order to understand them, that requires knowledge of the language and the culture, whatever language and culture you are in at that time. And in this context, it's English and American culture. But of course, these can also be translated into, other English speaking places where the culture, there might be lots of overlap, right? So this allows for more effective communication in English, reaching what we call social fluency a little bit better, getting a step closer and closer to it. And it's very important to be able to use the idioms correctly, right? The last thing I would want for you is to use an idiom that you were so excited to use, but in that moment, in that context, it was incorrect. Now, it's not the end of the world, right? But it's moments like those where, we might feel less confident then afterwards and think, I'm not going to use any more idioms because I messed that one up, right? And that's one of the beauties and advantages of being in a community like ours, because communities are forgiving. Communities, especially ours, is a place where you can practice and grow in a risk-free way. There's no judgment. There's no evaluation from others, right? You get feedback without that fear of being evaluated and saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing, right? Because the point is to make mistakes here in our community at explearning Academy so that you don't have to make, or you make fewer mistakes when it really matters, right? When your job depends on it, when your relationships depend on it, when your interview depends on it. The list goes on, right? In these high stakes types of environments, right? So we can do that here in a real way, in a relevant way, but without that stress of, oh, if I mess up, that's the end. So that's just a little bit of a side note that I really wanted to underline, because this is why I created this community for you. One of the many reasons. Hi, Gabrielle. Great to see you. Edwin, I certify what Mary is saying. That's great. So thank you, Edwin. Edwin's one of our members here in the Academy. And, he comes in, he does our workshops with us, shares wonderful thoughts and insights, and now he's here and chatting with all of you too. So it's great to see you here, Edwin. All right. So why should we even bother to use idioms in business English? They're an essential part of business communication. All right. And you might have heard terms like corporate speak. Corporate speak is a little bit different. I have a video about that on my explearning channel, and I'm happy to, I'll share that link later on. If you're interested, I'll share it in the community. But, this is a little bit different, and it's something that we absolutely need to use, because in business English, think about it, we're trying to be as concise as we can. And why not leverage idioms to help us to do that, right? So we've got a whole different set of reasons. let's start with this one. So they enrich business communication because, again, they add that color and flavor and they bring life and personality. They show that you have a profound understanding of business language and business culture in whatever cross-cultural setting or context there might be. Employing idioms can foster deeper connections and successful outcomes with your audience, whether that's one person or many people. We have idioms like cut to the chase, which is one that I really like to use personally. Things like this, these kinds of idioms can really make your talk, your speech, your interactions more memorable and even more impactful, right? They pack more of a punch. So they have that gravitas that, prose, general utterances might not. So things like step up our game, another one that's great and I love to use as well. It shows commitment and determination for success. So these are powerful phrases and expressions that we can really lean on in social settings, but specifically and particularly in business communication as well. All right, we have Adeli's here. Hello. Love it. So many people, lots of members, lots of newcomers. Great to have you all here today. All right, so if we're following along so far, I want to see another emoji. Give me another emoji in the chat as to why you use idioms. Maybe even share an idiom that you like. And let's carry on, shall we? All right. So let's get to some common idioms, right? Things that you may have heard before, may not have heard before, may have heard but not known the meaning of, and so on and so forth. All right, thinking outside the box. This is when you creatively think of ideas and come up with solutions, innovative solutions. For example, instead of using traditional marketing methods, we need to think outside the box and try something new. So not just actually saying thinking outside the box, but actually implementing this and doing that, actually thinking outside the box. And I have found that actually when you utter this expression, it kind of signals to your brain, all right, well, let me find an innovative solution to this problem. Or can we approach this strategy from a different perspective? Can we leverage our team members to come up with something that is really unique and cutting edge that will be reflected in our marketing strategy or our product launch or whatever it is, right? Thinking outside the box. Who's heard of this one before? I love this one. All right, ballpark figure. Approximate or rough estimate, right? So when you're talking about numbers, you might use this, right? This is a great one. For instance, when discussing the budget for a project, which is always on the top of stakeholders' minds, right? Very important in business. We can say that we have a ballpark figure of 50 grand, right? $50,000. Ballpark estimate, a ballpark figure. Touch base, right? When we touch base with someone, we quickly update or check in with them. You can touch base over the phone or over coffee or over lunch or just, via email even. Let's just touch base. Let's have a check-in. For example, we can say, let's touch base next week to discuss the project details. Nice and easy. Let's touch base. On the same page. You've probably heard me say this before, right? When I'm checking in with you, when we're touching base, I also want to make sure that we're on the same page, that you're picking up what I'm putting down kind of thing, right? So it indicates, there we go, agreement or shared understanding between people, right? To make sure that we're level set on expectations. So before you start a project, you might think, okay, well, everyone needs to be on the same page regarding our goals and our objectives so that we know how we're moving forward as a team, as a unit, as a collective entity. You've heard this one before, I'm guessing. Maybe, maybe not. All right, hit the ground running. So Sira shared this one in the chat. I love it. I love it. So yeah, absolutely. Sira, have you used this one before in business? Let me know. Yes, you have. Okay, excellent. So it's starting a project quickly and energetically, right? We're hitting the ground running. As soon as we, start, we're there. We're in it. We're in motion. We've got that momentum. As an illustration, after securing the funding, the team hit the ground running to complete the initial phase. So they had lots of energy. They were excited. They knew what the expectations of them were and how they could make this project a success, right? Low-hanging fruit. So it's the tasks or the goals that we can easily achieve. Just think about it. This one makes sense, right? In my mind, at least, it's, you're walking through a beautiful field and you see a whole row of fig trees, and which are, I think, still in season, by the way, depending on where you are located right now. But anyway, so you see some figs, and the ones at the top you can't reach. So it's going to take a little bit more strategizing to pick that fruit at the top. But the ones that are kind of within reach, you're able to get. That's easily achievable. So go for those. Go for those. Not the ones on the ground, because those are probably spoiled and rotten and you don't want to eat those, but the ones that you can reach within arm's reach. Perfect. Perfect. All right. So we might focus on capturing the low-hanging fruit in the market before aiming for more ambitious targets. So this is a great one too. I love all the ones that I'm sharing with you today. That's probably why I'm sharing them. Move the needle. You've probably heard me say this one too. Camilla says it's like picking cherries, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So for move the needle, you make a noticeable difference and have a significant impact. So when you move the needle on something, it really shows that you've made a difference. You've made an impact here in a good way. Implementing a new marketing strategy can help move the needle forward. You can say move the needle forward or just move the needle in terms of sales and brand awareness. Interesting. So moving the needle, you might even hear move the needle forward. Double click on this. So this is a newer one that I wanted to add. And newer because it's related to technology, right? Double clicking on something, like double tapping, maybe even. This idiom, it's borrowed from computer mouse technology, right? Computer mouse, like the one I have here. It means to delve deeper on a particular detail or aspect during a discussion. So you focus in on that, you laser in on that, you double click on it, right? So let's double click on this strategy to understand its potential impacts and benefits more thoroughly. Good. And it gives people the signal that you want to explore a topic more in depth, more carefully, to really ensure a comprehensive understanding or analysis, or maybe something wasn't clear at the get-go. So you want to double click on that. You want to get everyone on the same page because you're really focusing on that and you want everybody there to understand whatever it is you're discussing. So this is a new one for Sira. Nice. Yeah, absolutely, Edwin. Digging in more, diving in more, going deeper on a subject, diving deeper. Good. Double click on this. All right. So how are we doing? Okay, Nicholas, many new for me. Excellent. That's the goal, right? Even if you've heard these before, it might not have been clear, right, in the context. So definitely you can use these for business because, again, not all idioms that we have in American English you can use in the business space, but these are safe to use in the business world. So in fact, you'll hear them a lot when you hear, corporate people speak. When you hear corporate speak, you might hear these as well. And even if you watch shows that are, take place in the office, you might hear these spoken because they reflect the, communication that happens in the business space, these shows, right? So you might hear that. All right. Are we ready for the next set of idioms? These are specifically geared towards negotiation. So when you're in a negotiation, you might want to pick these out of your, have these in the back pocket, in your back pocket, so to speak, right? There's an expression right there, an idiom, to have it in your back pocket so that you can easily whip them out and dazzle everyone with. Okay, let's meet halfway. I like this one too. It's showing that you're willing to compromise. So you're not going fully your way on whatever it is that you're trying to negotiate on, but the other person is going to meet you halfway and you're going to meet them halfway. So it's like a 50-50. It's kind of like a win-win in a way. And it's powerful in negotiations because it shows that you're really open to finding a solution, right? You're not focused on winning and getting everything your way. You're focused on rapport, on building trust, on creating a space for you to have future negotiations and do business with, because business relies heavily on the art of negotiation, right? Think about deals that you're closing. Think about clients you're closing or pitches you're making, and whatever it is, whatever line of business you're in, whatever line of work you're in, you're going to be negotiating. Even you're negotiating with people at home too. It's like, what movie should we watch tonight? Well, let's negotiate. Let's think about that. So we've got a lot of uses for this. So this specific one, right? Let's meet halfway. It signals the intent, right? The intention of exploring a topic more in depth as well, because you're saying that, I'm trying to put myself out there. I know that this is not fully what you want. It's not fully what I want, but let's find a way that we can compromise. So again, you can explore a little further, because that way it allows for you to have more of a conversation. All right, playing hardball. Okay, adopting a tough stance or a strategy in negotiation, often not yielding easily. So you're not going to give them a yes on what they're asking for right away. You're going to play hardball. You're going to make it a little bit challenging for them, maybe a little bit difficult, right? And that's a style of negotiation, playing hardball. And it shows that you're really determined to secure favorable terms for yourself. So it's not so much opening it up to a conversation in a way, like the other two previous ones, like meeting halfway, but it's more so you're really determined to secure the outcome that you want or the terms that you want. And maybe, look, if playing hardball doesn't work, then maybe you decide to meet halfway, and maybe there's more of a conversation. You open it up for more understanding and more comprehension and analysis. But if you're playing hardball at the get-go, it's that you really want to secure something that is going to benefit you. Does that make sense? Okay. Sweeten the pot. This one you may have heard of. It's about, giving and offering additional benefits or incentives, right? Incentivizing the people to make a deal more attractive to the other party. So you're trying to make it so that they say yes. So you're going to sweeten the pot, right? Think of like a pot of gold, and you want to sweeten it. You want to add maybe some more exciting things in there, not just the gold, but something else, something that's going to really make them say, yes, let's go for this. Let's do it. So again, this is negotiation language. Okay. It's a great strategy that can facilitate agreement by making concessions that add value to the proposal. So you maybe are making concessions on your end, but that's going to be favorable for the other party so that they say yes. And it adds value to what you're proposing. So the value proposition is high and really exciting for the other party involved. Like you really want them to say yes. So you're not playing hardball, in other words, and you're not meeting halfway. You're sweetening the pot. All right, cutting to the chase. Let's just cut to the chase. So it's getting directly to the point or focusing on the main issue without getting tied up or bogged down by just unnecessary details, extraneous information that really just does not need to be shared. Maybe it's, extra data points or some anecdotes or anecdotal evidence or other, less important information that doesn't really add to the negotiation factor. So you just cut to the chase and get directly to the point, cut to the chase. So it can expedite negotiations by really getting people to focus on what's primarily their concern and what they should be focused on. All right, how do we do with that? Idioms for negotiation. New ones, old ones, unfamiliar ones, much clearer now, hopefully. I would love for you to use these, right? Definitely use these because this is how you're going to get them part of your communication toolkit, right? These are tools for your communication and your social fluency, and having them will help you maybe even close deals, right? Speaking the language. Very good. Some new ones here too. Excellent. Love to hear that. Amazing expressions. Wonderful. All right. Good. So are we ready for the next section then? We've got idioms for presentations. So these can be used on, during your virtual presentations and your Zooms and your Google Meets and your Skypes, but also in person. Okay. So Simon says most of them were new for me, totally useful for understanding business partners. Absolutely. So I'm getting the sense, Simon, that you've heard these before, right? Good. Absolutely. Excellent. Okay. The elephant in the room. Yeah. This one is a great one. The elephant in the room. Imagine if there was an elephant in the room. You would notice, right? You would notice. Unless, you live in a place where elephants abound, they're rampant, and just having a few elephants in the room is not that different than your ordinary day. But in most contexts, an elephant in the room, you're going to notice that. So it's a great idiom that can help address obvious yet unspoken issues or problems during a business presentation. So it's top of mind for everyone. They notice that elephant in the room, but no one's addressing it yet. No one's saying, oh, there's an elephant. Where is the elephant? There he is. There she is. So it's about, you signify tackling a significant concern or two head on, promoting transparency and open dialogue, right? It's like, okay, we all know there's an elephant in the room. Okay, again, figurative. There's not really an elephant in the room, but you're going to address that issue or that concern. Why is it an elephant? These beloved creatures, I don't know. If anybody knows the etymology of this expression, why it's an elephant, maybe because it's like a noticeable animal, right? They're big and I went on a safari a couple of years ago, and they're known as the king of the jungle, actually, right? I think most of us, at least myself, would think maybe lions are the king of the jungle, but in fact, it's really the elephants, believe it or not. At least that's what we discussed on safari. So that's what our tour guide was kind of saying. So yes, if you notice an elephant in the room, so you're gonna tackle those problems head on. And these are the key words here: transparency and open dialogue. So not hiding it from people, not saying, okay, I know that you all know there's this issue, but we're not going to address it. No, it's the opposite. It shows this is important. This is great for leadership and transparent dialogue and transparent, authentic leading. So you're going to address it head on. So before we move forward, let's address the elephant in the room, the current budget constraints. So everyone's been thinking of the budget constraints, but no one's had the guts to talk about it. But then the leader points out, we've got to talk about this issue. Okay, getting the ball rolling. So this can be used to show the initiation of a project or idea, right? It shows that there's momentum, there's a proactive nature to it in your business endeavors. You're doing what you can. You're not sitting back passively and just, you know, letting time fly by. You are getting the ball rolling on something, whether it's asking the right questions or going to the key stakeholders or, working with the team, um, refining and revising the project outcomes, whatever it is, you're getting the ball rolling. With this new strategy, we aim to get the ball rolling on our expansion into the Asian market. Okay, good. A picture's worth 1,000 words. This one you've probably heard before. It's one of those ones that I feel like we've all heard before. So it's great to emphasize the value of using visuals or diagrams or visual tools and cues in a presentation to convey complex information clearly and effectively. And you can say, to illustrate the project's potential impact, let's look at this chart. As they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? So just kind of drawing people's attention on this graphic is here for a reason. This visual aid is here for you to enhance your understanding. It's not just to make the presentation look prettier or more enticing or alluring, right? So actually pointing that out in a way like this, right? A picture's worth 1,000 words kind of gets people to wake up a little bit and say, okay, let me pay attention to this graphic. It was included for a reason. All right. How are we doing so far? We're on to the next section, which is idioms for networking. So what did we think about the section we just did? Give me your favorite emoji in the chat. Yay, wonderful. Awesome emojis. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay. So are you ready for idioms for networking? Hi, Praveen. All right. Let's do it. So rubbing elbows with. So your elbows, rubbing elbows with. It's kind of like a funny visual, right? You don't actually do that. I mean, maybe they did in the past. Again, etymology of these beautiful expressions. So it's the act of networking or mingling or interacting closely with people, right? If you're in a crowded space like New York City subway, hello, you're going to be rubbing elbows with or brushing shoulders with, even another expression, but rubbing elbows with. And these can be influential people or important people in your industry. So the top dogs for, your whatever industry you might be in, rubbing elbows with. At the upcoming conference, you'll have the opportunity to rub elbows with some of the industry's leading figures. So that's a good thing, right? It shows networking. It shows that you want to rub elbows with, right? You want to get to know them. You want to be introduced. You want to move the needle forward with whatever project you might be working on and could use their help on if they're so influential, things like that. Okay, another good networking idiom, building bridges. It signifies the creation of connections, relationships, building rapport, which is something that is very important in communication, fostering cooperation, understanding, clarity, building trust. And you can say our networking event is aimed at building bridges between new startups and seasoned entrepreneurs, facilitating fruitful collaborations, successful collaborations, something that is going to be, like fertile soil, right? Giving you lots of wonderful fruits and veggies. Having an ear to the ground. This one's a little bit more esoteric, I would say. Maybe you might not have heard of it, but it's a great one, especially in the business world. You'll hear this a lot. It implies that you're staying informed. You're staying abreast of the certain, the latest news or developments or trends through active networking. So you're actively seeking out these connections. You're seeking out opportunities to rub elbows with people of influence, people in your network, in your space to network with, and you have an ear to the ground. It's proactive, right? You're doing what you can. You're gathering information. You're collecting data. By having an ear to the ground through regular networking, we can stay ahead of industry shifts and opportunities. So it's like you have your ear to the ground, right? So if you see someone do that, no, I'm just kidding. Again, idioms, right? They're figurative. You don't actually put an ear to the ground and listen for what you can hear underneath you. Can you imagine? But now if you hear this, you'll know what it means. Lots of new and interesting idioms. Excellent. First time I hear this, but I can infer the meaning. Excellent. That's what we want, right? We want to use context, contextual clues to understand the idiom, right? So that's, I'll say a little tangent here, a little side note, thanks to Gabrielle's comment here, which is that if you're unsure of something, don't jump and think, I don't know what this means, and then shut down. Try to use the context to understand. Then you can ask follow-up questions. You can ask clarifying questions. Do you mean this? Do you mean that? Or, act in a way that will get you the answer that you're looking for. And of course, you want to check for understanding, your own understanding. So you don't want to assume that you've gotten the idiom or the phrase correctly when in fact it's not correct. But you can absolutely turn your brain on and trust it to use the knowledge that you have. You have a whole wealth of knowledge and resources inside your mind from all the experiences you've had, from all the maybe the different languages use those to your advantages, right? To your advantage. To don't shut off, don't panic and say, oh, I don't know this expression. What's having an ear to the ground? What's hit the ground running? I don't know what these mean. I'm freaking out. Don't panic. That's going to shut down our brain, so to speak. But it's more about, okay, taking a breath and just trying to understand, have an inquisitive mind, have a curious attitude. What context clues can you use? Context clues and contextual understanding. Okay. So yeah, Gabriel's comment made me think of that. So I did a little sidetrack there, but it's relevant, right? Use the context. And that's specifically important within the space of idioms. Don't shut off your brain. Don't freak out. Don't have a panic moment. Okay. So that's something I want you to remember. Oh, and here we've made it to our recap. What do you know? Okay. So we went through a lot of idioms. I don't expect you to memorize these. In fact, I'm not a big fan of memorization in terms of language and communication. It's really about practicing them, getting feedback, and then using them, right? The feedback part's important because if you don't get feedback, you're probably going to misuse the strategies or misuse, in this context, in this example, the idioms. And then it's very difficult to unlearn something that's been ingrained, right? We've all had that, even if it's with sports, like technique. Like you might have grown up playing tennis and you started taking lessons again like 30 years later, and you realize there are so many things wrong with your technique that you have to now unlearn the bad habits and learn the new habits. Whereas if you had that feedback earlier, it's much easier to remedy, right? And change course, so to speak. So we want to practice. We want to practice and be in an environment to get corrective, high quality feedback. That's like what we can do in explearning Academy. And, we want to be able to use this so that we don't have to memorize. We don't have to be stressed about, oh, I have to memorize 100 idioms by next Monday. No, it's not like that. It's using it and being able to have that naturally come out because it's internalized. It's part of us now. We won't forget it. So It's not about memorizing. So idioms, as we've pointed out the last 46 minutes, are a very valuable tool in business communication, right? They let us cut to the chase. That was one of them, right? They let us get to the point. They can make your language more interesting, engaging, valuable, show the value proposition of what you're talking about, what you're proposing, help you connect with your interlocutors, with your audience, and most importantly, take complex ideas and convey them in a simple and memorable way, right? And by using these kinds of idioms in your everyday communication, in your business context, in your business interactions, you can improve your relationships with your colleagues, with your clients, with your, managers, and negotiate more effectively, deliver more impactful presentations that, make a lasting impression on people. And I don't want you to be afraid of using business English, right? Using these idioms in your business English, because they can really help you stand out from the crowd and help you achieve your goals and have that confidence knowing that you know how to use these. You know the lingo, you know the language, you know the communication tools and the strategies. You have those under your belt. And that's so empowering, isn't it? It really, really is. So if you want to be able to get that feedback and practice and communicate and have that connection with us and have that community there behind you, supporting you, rooting for you, cheering for you, helping hold you accountable, then you might be interested in joining us in one of our plans where we do these live calls on camera together, all of us together, which is so fun. And you get to practice the strategies, you get feedback. And again, this is a risk-free, stress-free way of doing that. So you've got a live video call workshop that I'm inviting you to. You get to connect with others. You get to establish conversation partners in our community. You get that immediate feedback, which again, I cannot emphasize enough how important it is. And risk-free. And not to mention fun, right? We have fun all the time in these. So if any of these interest you, if you're nodding along, saying yes to any of these, then you probably would be a good candidate to join. So do you want to enhance your skills, learn new things? Do you want to rub elbows with people, make friends, meet people? Do you want to build your confidence in English and also in communication? Because guess what? The tools that I teach you will not only improve your English, but it will improve your L1 native language. What do I mean by that? The strategies that I share with you, you can translate into, and I don't mean literally like verbally translate, but you can use in the language that you are comfortable speaking as your L1. No question about that. So that's kind of cool. It's, double value there. Enjoyable exchanges with people from all over the world. Risk-free practice in a judgment-free zone, but you're still getting out of your comfort zone. And fun group coaching experience. If any of these interest you, even just one of them, you would probably be a great fit for our explearning academy. So we've got a face-to-face live video call, face-to-face virtually, but in communication, that's the correct term. You can still say face-to-face for a virtual interaction, believe it or not. Practicing these business idioms. One of the best things that I have found that people really enjoy as being part of one of our paid plan community is that they get to practice the strategies, right? If you've been following me for however long I've been doing the YouTube and Spotify, we've got hundreds of videos there, like over 500 videos. Each video lesson is packed with strategies, not just one, but several. So if you were to do all of those, right, you have literally thousands of strategies that I give you at your disposal. The difference between doing those, just watching those videos and maybe practicing, probably not though, right? Who are we kidding? And actually joining our community and being able to practice those strategies in real life with us in a risk-free way, and then, ace it when you're in that high stakes situation, in that job interview, in that meeting with your boss, in that meeting with the stakeholders, in a conversation with your best friend that's really important, in a conversation with your, loved ones, whatever it is, right? Social, personal, and also professional settings, you get to actually practice these. So this right here is an opportunity for you to do that, right? One of the many. And so many people in our community, that's one of their favorite things, because where else can you do that, right? Where else can you practice it where it's not going to be a problem if you mess up? I don't want to say fail. Failure is not a bad thing. It's, it's a teachable moment, but it's like, if you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. If you make a mistake in the high stakes situation and you don't get your dream job, it's not the end of the world, but it's like a big downer, right? So in that moment, it might feel like the end of the world. But in our community, no problem. Don't sweat it. We're going to learn and grow and get better together. So join our live video call. And when you sign up, you get a free trial. So that's a big deal. And then if you like it, you can stay on and meet everybody. And well, you'll meet everybody in the live call, and you get to connect with people even further, build those connections. So you can join this specific call from either of these two plans. So we've got the Executive Communication Lab, and then we've got the explearning Academy plan. So the Executive Communication Lab is more business focused. So you're going to get more video calls there. And this is especially good for people who are thinking about, moving abroad, because you get not just the business side of things, but the social fluency, but it's just more interaction. And if you are looking to live abroad or work abroad or improve your job situation, even in your own, wherever you're, even if it's a non-English speaking country, again, these strategies will not only help you with your English business communication and social interaction and communication, but also in your L1, whatever language it is, Spanish, French, Portuguese, Hindi, whatever, like Swahili, Greek, I don't know, all these different languages, the beautiful languages of the world, but you can use them there too. So that's kind of cool. So you can try free, like I said, and you can, if you're already in the community. So this would be if you're not in the community. If you are in the community and you're on the free plan, then you can upgrade your plan. And all you have to do is go into one of these stars, but you can easily go into daily practice, because that's where that call next week is going to take place. And you can easily upgrade your membership through there if you, again, are part of this free webinar plan. If you would like, you can easily do that. And again, if you are not in the community yet, or you want to share this with people and you want to let them know, just tell them that they can purchase a plan right on our website at academy.explearning.co. There it is, academy.explearning.co. All right. Let me see. Before I get to what members have to say, Edwin says, I come back often to watch videos to remember strategies. It's an unlimited resource of strategies. So true, Edwin. Thank you for sharing that. That's very helpful, I think, for people who, might be new to our community or thinking about it, maybe on the fence, not on the fence, maybe just don't know about this amazing resource that we have. So that's a great point. There is a plethora, a wealth of information, a fount of knowledge that awaits you. It's just a few clicks away. And it's an investment in yourself. And speaking of investment, I love what Mireya here had to say. She said, best investment, you won't regret it. Nice and sweet and to the point. She cut to the chase with this, right? Cut to the chase. All right. Helder says, so this is an example where actually these strategies were useful for Helder, not only in English, but in his L1, which is Portuguese. So I had to give a presentation at work and I used the tips that I learned from the community and everyone loved it. It was a great success. And he says, this community is different because it's not just about learning English, but it also focuses on practical communication skills and real life situations. That is where we spend most of our time. I'm here to help you communicate better. I want to enrich your life with better communication tools, right? We communicate every day. This is something we do every day. We can't do a bad job at it. We need to be good at it. We have to. So much depends on it. Think about the jobs you could have, the people in your life that you could have, the kinds of experiences and opportunities at your disposal when your communication is where it needs to be. So much. The world is your oyster. Marvet, Explearning Academy is very different. There we go. Very different from any training I've attended so far. Talking in small groups. That's what's amazing about our community. It's growing, but our groups, I have a way of keeping them nice and small for our calls. So that's really great. Talking in small groups and everyone in the group participating in the group conversations has increased my self-confidence, speaking English and using English and communication in different social situations. She feels encouraged to speak and speak up and have discussions with people. And she feels like everyone is taken care of and everyone benefits. That's so sweet. So glad. Edwin says, the style of interaction in Explearning is cutting edge, incorporating innovative elements of teaching a second language. And he says, my speaking skills, well, he can say it himself. He's on this call. His speaking skills have improved in interactions, and he's surpassed some of his typical language barriers of learning a new language. Every day in live discussions, he learns new words, expressions, and discussion items, which he uses afterwards in real life settings, right? Because these are relevant. These are real strategies that you can use in real life. They're not just these, silly little strategies that you might not ever use. You will use them as soon as you learn them. You won't be able to stop yourself from using them because they are so good at helping us do better, be a better human, be a better business person, really follow our dreams and check off those boxes of our bucket lists and our goals and being better. Raquel, I don't get to use English in my daily life, so I find it very enriching to have the opportunity to exchange with people from all over the world, different countries, and learn about their customs and opinions on current affairs. Very important. Where else can you do that? Not many places, right? So I love this because we are in a global society and the world is only going to get more globalized, which is a good thing, right? And we want to be able to communicate cross-culturally, know how to speak with people from all over the world, from different cultures and countries, and who have different cultural backgrounds, religious backgrounds, whatever, world views and experiences that are different. That difference is important. If we were all the same, how boring would that be? So boring, so one-dimensional, so monolithic. We love the diversity. We need the diversity. We thrive on diversity. So I love what Raquel said here. Saval, both married Daphne and all the members of the community are so sweet and smiling that you never get bored. You don't understand how time flies. That's nice. It's true. It really is. With this community, I had the opportunity to improve my communication skills as well as improve my language. Exactly. So if you're improving your communication, guess what? Your language skills also improve. I have the opportunity to see and correct my mistakes with frequent community meetings. That's another really great point that Saval made. And she highlighted that corrective feedback, right? Getting that feedback. Because again, where else are you going to get that? People out there in the world are not going to say, oh, this expression is not really like that. It's not supposed to be said this way. Or people just, it's perceived as, it might come across as rude. Even if you want it, that person giving that feedback, first of all, might not be qualified to do that. It might be just unsolicited advice. or they might feel really uncomfortable doing that too, right? There's a whole psychology behind why people don't really do that. But if you're in a learning environment such as Explearning Academy, it's a very natural part of what we do, and it's important. So you get that feedback. Ashika. Ashika is a native English speaker, and she's here to improve her social fluency. So she says, my goals are to become more socially savvy and build emotional intelligence with people. MD is an excellent teacher and communicator. Her skills surely rub off on you as she eases you into better habits and makes everyone feel comfortable as the instructor and facilitator. I'm already experiencing subtle shifts by learning from everyone in MD. See, learning from everyone, right? It's that group experience, which is so important. We learn from each other. Love it. It's so key. That's the beauty of a community of practice. The community's international diversity is the perfect practice ground to interact in multicultural settings. Again, global society. Beautiful thing. I feel comfortable to say things without thinking too much, as long as I put it across with integrity and grace, something that Explearning Academy integrates in its modules. So she's referring to not only the web courses that we have, the self-paced learning with quizzes and quests and, little assignments here and there, but then also the live calls that we have, and also the replays that we offer. Lovely to meet you all. So let's see here. Edwin said, Explearning is worth every penny invested. Awesome. Well, I really love that, we're able to be in a community like this where you're all so incredible. I mean, I literally could have, I can say 100 things, amazing things about all of our members. I really can. They're just, you guys are amazing. And we wouldn't be here if it weren't for you, right? If you didn't feel like this was important, you wouldn't be here. So it's important. You want to invest in yourself. Take the time, right? Time is an investment. Here today, spending this hour, just over an hour on this call, was an investment in yourself. You took the time and you said, you had the courage to say, I want to be better. I want to do better. Let's be better. And so you came on this call, right? And we're here today, and we learn from each other, and every day is a new day. Every day is a new adventure, and it's fun. We have fun. So that's the presentation. That's the webinar. I would love to hear your voices right now, see your shining faces right now, which we can do and which we do in our community. So for those of you who are already in our community, come and join us. We have workshops tomorrow and the next day, and we're going to be doing live calls. And I know that many of you have already RSVP'd, which is wonderful. For those of you who are not yet in our full community, like the full access plans, then maybe I'll see you. Maybe this is your time to shine and come in and join us. And if that's the case, then I look forward to meeting you virtually face-to-face in our next call, which we have one tomorrow and the next day and next week. And we just keep going and going because that's what we do. And we love it. Sura, you are welcome. So happy to have you here, and I'm excited to see you tomorrow. I know that you've RSVP'd, so I'm very excited for that. And all of you, I'm really happy that you've taken the time, like I said. So much fun. Lovely to meet you all. Looking forward to attending the next one. Awesome, Nicholas. Yeah, we'll see you soon. All right. So listen, it's been great. It's been real. Use the strategies we talked about. Definitely watch the replay because there are so many little hidden gems in there. And I'm excited to see you in the next webinar and also in a face-to-face virtual video call. That was a mouthful. Face-to-face virtual video call. Well, that's what it is, right? Video call. So thank you. I will see you then. Interact. Find a way to communicate in the community. Share your thoughts. Chat with people in the group chat. If you're part of the community, post your comments in the spaces and use it. This community is here for you. The more you use it, the more value you will get out of it. There's tons of content, as you know, and I want you to use it. Use it, use it, use it. All right. So I will see you soon. I see people chatting, so I'll give it a couple seconds, and then I'm going to sign off. And I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day. Edwin, see you guys in explearning. Yes, that is right. All right. So with that, I will say good morning, good night, good day to all of you. Bye for now.